Come here, you.
No,
Come here.
no.
Come here. Yes.
With your headphones turned up, looking like a doll. And pillow talk to solve your problems, another to break your fall. So here we go again, it's a race to cut ties. The mental hopscotch has got us feeling.
Amtrak of adulting.
Just when I hit record. Hello, everybody. Welcome to World 1-1 Podcast. I'm your host, ADV, the Chocolate Dealer with Wonder. Thank you guys for joining us. With me, live in the Metroid basement, I have the one and only Mr. Larry. I am always right giver. He is the Red Velvet Verdict Beast himself. Spending time with him this weekend, had a complete amazing time. It's been like literally bananas, but
So much food.
oh, the food here, everybody, is amazing. I have the sticky burger. I got to shoot a gun and get some great knowledge learning about gun laws and stuff like that. You'll be able to see that more on World 1-1. See my shooting and see the clips and everything. But hello, Larry, welcome.
What up? Eddie, you better grab this controller. I'm going to hit on pause and start kicking your ass without you.
So everybody, if you listen to part 1, we have done commentary of playing Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, the multiplayer, and we was like literally I think both of our first times playing it.
No, I got to play it back when it came out, but I have not gotten to play it since. And I'm about to wreck your shit.
Oh.
I just found the cannon.
What in the world is that? So, today on today's show, let's actually talk about Metroid. Oh my goodness! So you're ready to hear part 2 of commentary of this, of me getting wrecked. But the Metroid series, one of Nintendo's well-known major IPs, it has spanned many games for it, and just like the Mega Man X talk that me, Adrian, and Tony has had, we're going to explore why the Metroid series has kind of really mattered to a lot of people. It hasn't really sold well in Japan, but it is a very beloved series. So started with Metroid on the Nintendo. Larry, how did you get introduced to the Metroid series?
For me, it was, getting a system for Christmas one year, and, Metroid was one of the games that came with it. It for me stood out because it was just such a uniquely different game than, everything else that was out there. It wasn't just this, platform, run left, do the same thing over and over again. It was, it was thoughtful, it was exploring, it was unique, it was multi-directional, for God's sakes. One of the first things you do is go left, and that just makes a world of difference. Suddenly you've got one game doing something different than everything else, and then the more you get into it and the more you explore and the more you get lost, the more you want to keep going, and it builds on this. It's not just oh, you've got a new weapon, here's how to use it. It's here's the thing I can't do yet, but I bet you there's probably something that'll let me do that if I get it later. So make a mental note to come back to it. So, but yeah, it's it's conceptually different than anything else that was out there at the time. So
I know for me, I actually had my neighbor had the game, and just hearing the music and seeing how this game was played, because I was into The Legend of Zelda, and that's how I didn't see it that way at the time as a kid, that this was a exploration game. and I've never played anything like it. Like, of course, you have the Mario Brothers going from left to right, but Metroid was a game that, when you played it, you didn't know what to do when you first started the game, and I literally was just like floored by it. I wasn't really worried about the difficulty. It was just like, okay, how do I play this game and where do I go? And Metroid, the first one, allowed me to do that. And you really, as a gamer, definitely if you've been into arcades, you would never think of anything like that.
Yeah, this was an old school game that came out in the time, the heyday of arcade still, that just didn't fit the arcade format at all.
Uh huh. Yeah.
I forgot that was there.
Because with arcades, definitely during this time when the NES was out, it was all about getting a high score.
Well, it was quarter munchers.
Well, yeah, and even games like the first Mega Man was kind of out, I think, also during this time. Oh crap. It was just about getting scores, and Metroid wasn't about getting scores. Metroid was about me running away so I don't get killed by enemies and being able to open up doors and stuff like that. And everybody knows the world famous code. Well, before we get into that one, when you heard the word Samus, everybody assumed that it was a guy.
Well, it wasn't just that, but if you read the manual, it actually refers to Samus as a male in the manual. So it wasn't necessarily intentional misdirection, but it was something that came about kind of last minute where they went, wouldn't it be cool if, and so they changed the ending, but the manuals never changed because they wanted it to be a surprise at the end. So...
And I think, personally for me, Samus was the first female hero of any video game.
First lady of gaming.
Yeah. Of course, Princess Peach was like the first female to be kind of rescued in the game.
What a prestigious role. The first bitch to ever get kidnapped.
Wow.
Oh, let the feminism roll in.
But, she became like the second female character you could play in a video game because of Super Mario Brothers 2.
That wasn't Mario Brothers, that was Doki Doki Panic.
Well, I mean, but yes. But you know what? You didn't know that during that time when the game came out. Because I was all about Super Mario Brothers 2. And to have this new format of gameplay was like astonishing to me with Super Mario Brothers 2. So moving on from Metro, well, let's talk about the Samus code.
Justin Bailey.
Yeah. That one allowed you to play her in a swimsuit. I think it was black.
It was like purple.
Purple. And you got to play the whole game as Samus without her suit.
Not only that, but you got powered the fuck up. Oh, I got a present for you.
Because
that would let you start with, the wave beam, the screw attack, loaded up on missiles, and it also started at a point where Kraid and Ridley were both dead, so you were ready to just go trucking along, re-find an ice beam, and then go kill Mother Brain.
Yes.
So, that was kind of the code, because that for those that, couldn't or wouldn't, that gave them the opportunity to really explore the game, in a powered up fashion. So, and it really helped open some of those doors and break down some of the barriers that of entry to that game, because let's be honest, it has not aged well. But that game was hard as balls.
Oh,
You didn't even start with a full fucking health tank. You started at 30 life, and you hope to God you could make your way up to 99 to fill it, just to keep going. But yeah, that game was fucking tough as nails. Now, the other code that doesn't get talked about so much, because all it actually does is lock up the game, but it will, guaranteed, I've tested it, it's tried and true. If you want to freeze your game, and I kid you not, it fits the 4 bars of, code input perfectly, you can put in engage Ridley motherfucker, and it will freeze your game.
Wow. That's new. I've never heard that.
Dead serious. Check it out sometime. You can put in engage Ridley motherfucker, and it will freeze your game.
And for people who bought Metroid Zero Mission on Wii U,
which is a way better way to play the original game.
They still have the original game in it.
On it, yeah.
Yeah, I just read the
original
news story.
game got re-released in a couple of spots. Like, you could unlock it on the first Metroid Prime.
Yes.
It was out there on the Wii Virtual Console. It's now on the Wii U Virtual Console. It was part of the Ambassador program for the 3DS for those of us that bought in at launch, and then they dropped the price like $100. So I mean, it's all over the place. It's not that difficult to get rid of. Now, for those that want to have some fun with it, shout out to the website Metroid Database. They've got out there an application where you can select like what you want for like all your starting settings, and it will generate a code for the original Metroid to all those specifics.
Nice.
So there is a code generator. They've figured out what all does exactly what. So where you want to pick up your game at. How many missiles, what weapons, zero suit, no zero suit, which bosses are already dead. All that shit's on there. It's kind of neat to play with just to see what comes out and what all your options are.
Nice. I know I've never got a chance to finish the regular Metroid.
Don't bother. Not gonna lie. Don't bother.
I seen the ending, and I seen it where they fight Mother Brain, who is the main boss of the first Metroid.
He's a brain in a jar.
Yeah, but you also had to deal with the fact that you have
all the Ringos and the Zebites and just tiny platforms. So, but no, it was a marvel for its time, but it is not anything that aged well. Don't bother. Just play Zero Mission, which is up on Wii U Virtual Console now, so you all have no excuse.
Which we'll actually get into. So let's move on from Metroid 2, The Return of Samus.
It is the best game in the whole fucking series, and anyone that says otherwise can go fuck right off.
And this game has been re-released for the Nintendo 3DS, so you are able to play it.
It's like $5. Go download it right now.
Yes. And this one came out for the original Game Boy. I'm playing it. While me and Larry was talking a couple of days ago, he beat it like it was no tomorrow. He'll probably beat it again. And this one was a different kind of way of Metroid. It still introduced some new weapons like the Spider Ball and some other things. The save point was even different that you.
That's because there actually was a save point. There was no save points in the original.
Yes, you had codes.
Yep.
In the first one.
But there were no save points.
Yeah, and this one you had to defeat Metroids instead of going to different bosses and stuff. There still wasn't no map in it.
Nope.
Anything like that.
Yeah, we were still predating the map. This was all about the actual Metroids, which, what you saw in the first game, you kind of look at it and go, okay, they're terrifying little life suckers, but you get into the second game and you start seeing them evolve, and you realize that what you saw in the first game was just them as larvas, and you see them come out of their shells and start getting bigger and meaner and nastier until you get to the end and you get to the fucking queen, and it's this giant dinosaur bitch that takes up half the room, and it's just, they did such a good job. And actually, for those that haven't played it, if you've played Fusion, you've actually gotten to see some of the evolutions. They're in the backgrounds in Fusion in certain spots. Towards the end, where the SAX is like going to town on part of the station, and it ejects that part of the station to try and get. If you look in the background, you'll see the different evolutions of the Metroids. You'll see the Alpha and the Gamma and the Zeta and the Omegas in the background until you get to the end where you fight an Omega Metroid again. So.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yes, that's where they came from. So, but you will start to get to fight them later on as you get through Metroid 2. But it was. I just got my controller adapter for my PC. So next week, by the time we record next week, I should be able to put up we'll talk about a big full-blown review of AM2R. But for me, what made this game special is honestly a few things that a lot of people I think hated about it. For me, it was dark. It was claustrophobic. Part of that was the fact the screen size and the screen resolution meant that in order to get some of the detail that they wanted, it was so zoomed in, you couldn't see a lot of what was going on around you.
Right.
And that, to me, built on that claustrophobia. On top of that, they skimped on a lot of things, just for technical reasons. Like, when you're in these caverns, a lot of the backgrounds are almost solid black. There's not a lot of detail there. But to me, as a child, my imagination said that this is a dark cavern. It's a big cavern, but it's dark. You can't see the back. It should be pitch black. It should be, encapsulated. It should be cramped. And in a lot of the fights of the Metroids, that's another thing. They are cramped. You don't get a lot of maneuvering room. And the weapons and the upgrades that you'll pick up throughout are limited. Like I was telling Eddie, I said, you're only going to see 5 energy tanks the whole game. That's it.
And I already got one energy tank.
Yep.
And it's just like, when you told me that there was only 5, I'm just like, wait, what? But if you look at the screen, you can see where the 5 energy tanks are going to go.
Exactly. So, yeah, there's only 5 of them bad boys, and that's it. But, from there, Metroid 2 was also the most interconnected map the series ever had. To this day, still. Because there are no elevators. It's not a section of map that's connected to an elevator, to another section. It's all directly connected caverns and tunnels.
Yes.
So you could literally draw this map out and it would totally piece together correctly.
I've encountered one door that I had to use my missiles.
Yep.
And when I got it, that's where I believe I got the spider ball in it.
Nope, that would have been either your bombs or your ice beam. The spider ball's in a little corner just kind of hanging out down by itself.
Oh, I thought what did I get? Oh, you know what?
It might have been your bombs too.
It was my bombs because when I because I actually fought the first Metroid.
Yep.
Killed him before I got anything else.
Yep. You have everything you need right from the get-go to go kill your first Metroid. Because you start with your morph ball and your missiles and just a basic power beam, and off you go.
Yes. On the 3DS, the Y button opens up for your missiles, and your B button allows you to shoot.
Your Y button doubles as your select button, because that's what that's assigned to, is the select button.
Okay. Now that's what I was going to ask you. Mm-hmm. On the regular Game Boy, what was the controls like?
Select button for the missile toggle. So, which that was the other cool thing too, was, unlike the original Metroid, which did a palette swap to show you that your missiles were activated, Metroid 2, which didn't have the colors to do a palette swap, you actually saw for the first time the end of her cannon open up and fan out.
Yes.
Much like you see in the Metroid Prime games. So, which actually the first Metroid Prime was the closest to that, because that's where the actual end of the cannon fanned out, versus just kind of expanding back a little bit.
And
so,
the first Metroid, you have purple to represent your energy for 5, and then I think it still had the red, or it might have been bigger purple for more energy. On this Metroid, when you defeat an enemy, you'll get just like 5 energy points. But they have a big ball.
The big energy ball, yep.
That when you touch it, it refills all your energy.
Yep. You'll also find like the medium energy pickups. So there's the little round ones that are your 5 health. There are bigger ones that are like 20 health apiece, and you'll get those from some of the the tougher enemies that are floating around. They're
Now,
there.
does Metroid 2 have like any bosses, or is it different sections that you have to kill? Like, because I'm in like I want to say the first area, and I have like 37 more Metroids to go. But that doesn't represent all the Metroids that I need to kill on the whole planet, right?
No, you're 37. You've got 2 counters, and the one that you're seeing right now that says 37, that's your overall for the entire planet to hunt down and kill all the Metroids.
Okay.
When you hit your pause button, that counter will change, and it'll tell you how many Metroids are left in that area before you hit the next quake that will move the acid down so you can progress deeper into the planet.
And why was that? Why is it killing the Metroids make the acid go down? Did they just
It never said. It's just a mechanic to keep you, in one spot to clear it before you get into the next section. So.
Okay. Because that's what I'm wondering. I'm like, does the Metroids have anything connected? Well, it's.
I will say I'm curious because just a snippet preview for AM2R, they've got some really cool like story and scanning bits. Like, you're not actively scanning anything like you were in the Metroid Prime games, but there's a little note that happens in the bottom corner that says scanning complete. Check out your logbook for additional information, and he's got really cool like data entries on the areas and the creatures and everything. It's kind of impressive, and it's a very smooth way of putting that in there too, because like I said, it's not a tedious thing where you've got to scan everything manually. It happens in the background, and there's extra depth there if you want to check it out. And what I've read of it so far has been really cool. He's put some thought into it, and it's something that's thus far so well written. To me, I would look at it as canonical, but I'm curious to see what else he has written in there, for the other stuff as you get deeper into the planet. But we'll get there. So, but yeah, no, there was nothing officially that tied the Quakes to the Metroids other than just it was a counter, it was a game mechanism essentially. So.
And I think this one, and we're going to get into Super Metroid, the Return of Samus and Super Metroid connected at each other because of the ending. I won't say what it is because I want people to experience.
It's a 25-year-old game. Get over it. There are no spoilers anymore.
But I want but I don't want to spoil it because I
if
think
you played the beginning of Super Metroid, you know what happens at the end of Metroid 2.
Well, yes. But I think people need to play Metroid 2 because definitely for me, I've never played it until it came to the 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that I wasn't into Metroid or something like that. I was just so into other Game Boy games.
Oh yeah.
And I was still playing Nintendo and Sega Master and Genesis games. I was playing so much other stuff that Metroid 2 Return of Samus just
slipped away.
Yeah. Dude, I even played the Castlevania on Game Boy. So that kind of tells you something. But Super Metroid is one of the games that kind of defined the Metroid series. Until Metroid Prime. Super Metroid introduced a lot of new mechanics, of course, but really was able to tell a story by being silent. Mm-hmm. And it was one of the visual things. Still one of the best boss fights, still some of the greatest music, and very emotional what happens at the end. But let's get into Super Metroid. I actually played Super Metroid over the summer. My cousin brought the game, and I went over to my grandma's house, and we studied the game with the guy. And he bought the game, he bought the guy. I didn't. So, but I took time to learn that game inside out, and still to this very day, once I press start, I get like super happy.
Super Metroid, it kind of makes me sad because Super Metroid was the last of the heavy Metroids, and I refer specifically to the way that it played and it handled. Once Fusion came around, everything from there on out was this very quick, very fast. Super Metroid had a certain feel of being very deliberate, in the way that Samus handled and controlled, and that's one thing I find myself missing as I'm dinking around with the AM2R download now. is that Metroid 2 also had that sluggish, deliberate feel to it. And sluggish is the wrong word, but like I said, heavy and deliberate. And AM2R is missing that because a lot of the physics are based off of like Fusion and Zero Mission, which have that very quick snap. And it's something about playing Metroid 2 with that different control feel just seems off to me, and I'm starting to acclimate to it, but I'm still having issues with it because it feels wrong for that game to me. But no, that's something that I will forever mourn with Super Metroid being the last game that really had that feel to it. It felt like you were wearing heavy armor, and
when you was running and you hear the sound effects of her foot. Oh
yeah.
Like you don't know the detail of sound that they put into that game. If you literally put this, even on Larry has like a Bluetooth soundbar, I believe. And I believe if you put that mug with Super Metroid, definitely with Sony doing Super Nintendo sound chip,
yeah,
it sounds beyond amazing.
It really does.
Like,
I've had it down here, and I've hooked it up to the soundbar, and it does sound so good. It's still, to me, the layering of, and I'm jumping tracks here, but one of the things that boggles my mind is that game had layered visuals. It was a 2.5D platformer.
Yeah.
It had a background and a closer background and your actual play area and even a foreground in some areas that all scrolled independently of each other to give that unique depth perception.
Yes.
And it boggles my mind that this has not come out with a 3D format on the 3DS. With that layering would be beautiful.
The section where you're underwater in the
exactly.
glass. Seeing that
in 3D?
That is
always forever one of my favorite scenes. And what's really cool is you can power bomb that tube and you can stand back up. But the glass will not shatter until you take a footstep.
Goodness. Once you take that footstep and you hear the crack.
And it all blows out.
Oh, wow. Like, that's how attention to detail Nintendo was in that game.
And there's so many other unique little things buried in that game that, were never in an instruction manual, like the secret beam weapons. Those, they're for the most part totally useless, but they're fucking neat. You can turn off in all but like one of your special beams and charge it up, and along with a power bomb, and it will trigger these neat little special beam things. Like some of them are kind of like the little shields that'll rotate around you. It's just, they're nifty. You'll never use them or do anything with them. They're not practical, but they put them in there and they're cool.
And I love this way that you said how dark that was the last dark game. Because when you start up the game, after it says Nintendo Presents, and you see the title Super Metroid, the dead scientist laying on the ground. Who in the world in any video game would do that?
Metroid Prime 2 did it. They had dead Federation troopers hanging from the ceiling.
Oh my goodness, I forgot all about that. And even though we are
as it's open right in front of us, yeah. But no, dead Federation troopers hanging from the ceiling. Not even kidding.
But as Nintendo being a family, a family company with their games and stuff, you would never think of them being that dark for gamers that came out during that time.
Oh, but it was. And it's not that it was dark, it was moody. It had an ambiance. It had a distinct feel that nothing else really emulated.
Definitely when
I'm gonna run around and kick your ass again.
Definitely when you get into where after you meet the scientist and you get to a point where the room is empty, but you see the Metroid that's in a glass case, and then you just see the first this red eye pop out, and it's red. And after, of course, you can't defeat him because you got to get into the adventure. And just the rain effects and just everything in that game.
Oh yes.
It's literally superb. And it. What the heck happened?
You got a double kill on you. I had a death ball and I hit you with the morph ball cannon right as you walked over it.
Oh, that you suck. Super Metroid, with the boss battles were very creative. I just enjoyed the boss battles. And I don't want to bring any spoilers to Super Metroid because it's now available for the new 3DS XL. So if you do have that system, you can download Super Metroid for the 3DS.
You should have downloaded it on your Wii years ago, and then again on your Wii U a few years ago, and you should have played it back in '94. Those years ago, and
well, we have some listeners that weren't born in 1994. I definitely was enjoying the game. I'm getting my tail kicked. Why am I on fire?
Hit you with a light beam.
Yes. Come on. Yes, I win. But the part of Super Metroid, what made it emotional is there's a scene that you have to experience after playing that whole game. And if you kind of understood why it's important, it was something that helped drive the narrative of Super Metroid. And you will understand why it was shown that way. It still has one of my favorite weapons in that game, that super beam at the end.
Oh, the hyper beam.
Yes, that one. But the super beam, like putting everything together, I just love it. It kind of felt like a space shooter, like a shoot 'em up. That's what it felt like when I had that beam.
I can see that.
So, and then Super Metroid was kind of the last Metroid game for quite a while.
Yeah, it went from '94 to right about it wasn't 2004, it was before that, maybe 2002-ish. So almost, oh god, 8 years, give or take. So, yeah, right about. And so, nearly a decade between entries in the franchise, and then we got a double header when that year Metroid Prime and Metroid Fusion both came out at the same time, day and date together, and you couldn't have had two more disparate, looks at the series. Metroid Prime, which was divisive, still generally looked at as one of the best games that ever hit the GameCube.
Yes.
But, for some people, they didn't like it, and I look at it and I go, I love and adore it, but I can understand the fact that what makes a Metroid game is different for different people.
Yes.
And so some of that, what was specifically tied to the concept of the franchise, for some people was lost when Metroid Prime came out. For others, it held that same element. It just depends on, mentally what that element is to you that ties it together in your head. So I can understand the discrepancy for a lot of people of saying it's not a Metroid game. I wouldn't say that it's not a Metroid game. I would stipulate that with it's just not a Metroid game to me.
Well, before we get into Metroid Prime, let's talk about Fusion, because if we're going story-wise,
much talking. Oh my God, so much talking.
Well, chronologically, Metroid Fusion is the fourth in the main series.
It's the last one chronologically too at the moment. So we're still waiting, to find out what the hell happens after. Thanks a lot, Nintendo. We still want Metroid Dread.
Well, let's get into Metroid Fusion. It was a game for the Game Boy Advance. I remember getting that game because playing Metroid Prime that Prime is just, and when we get into Prime, I have a lot to say about that game. A lot of positive and why it kind of made it just exceptional and exciting to play. And kind of really changed up the Metroid series on why people were just like, even though people had their complaints about Metroid Prime, why people now want like Retro Studios to continue the Metroid franchise. But we'll get into that. Metroid Fusion happens where Samus is infused with the Metroid DNA. I think Dark Samus did something to her, or was it like a blast or something? Something happened.
At the beginning of the game, it's told in these beautiful, beautiful story cells.
Yes.
You find that Samus is escorting a group of researchers down to SR388. Now, bearing in mind, this is post Metroid 2. The Metroids are gone from that planet. Well, if you do a little digging into the history, you will find that the Chozo actually genetically engineered the Metroid species and put them on SR388 specifically to keep a natural parasite in check on that planet. Without the Metroids there anymore, that parasite was running rampant, and they were attacked by this parasite, which the game refers to as super generically as the X-Parasite. But Samus finds herself and her suit infected, and they bring her back to the research station where whole chunks of her suit are removed. And what's left, is this. It's down to mostly just the organic bits underneath all that metal plate armor, and as well as her DNA is being attacked. And so they take a sample of the Metroid DNA from the infant Metroid from Super and bind it with hers to fight off the X-Parasite, because that's what the Metroids were created to do. They were created as like a planetary antibody against these things. And so she finds herself, with new Metroid DNA infused, which also has a few effects on what powers she does and does not get. You will find Metroid Fusion, the Ice Beam is noticeably absent. It has been replaced with the Ice Missile instead as a result. And there are some distinct differences in the way those weapons behave. The Ice Beam was a direct contact to freeze your enemy. The Ice Missile, in conjunction with something else, allows that to expand out in a really unique way. When you get the diffusion missiles, those were really nifty. They'd let you hit like an entire room with a missile blast, including, with the ice missiles, where they just blew out and froze everything on the screen. It was pretty nifty. But, again, they wrote it into the story that, her body would have issues obtaining an ice, dealing with an ice beam, just because that Metroid DNA and that vulnerability to the super cold. So, but yeah, that's some of the back stuff of Fusion in a nutshell. I've gone way too long about minutia that doesn't matter. But no, Fusion, like I said, was one of the first that carried with it this new, very quick, fast feel too. It was very snap reaction.
But it's also, it kind of feel like also survival horror because of
the SAX.
Yes. I think this is where I got introduced to Dark Samus, because she was...
Dark Samus and SAX are two different things.
Really? I thought Dark Samus was in was Metro Fusion. That's what I was calling her.
The SAX was the X-Parasite mimicking Samus. With the DNA that they obtained from her suit. And Dark Samus is an entity that's a fusion of Phazon, Metroid DNA, and Samus's DNA all put together. That's what Dark Samus was. She was a Phazon entity.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Wow. And everybody, Metroid Fusion is on Wii U that you're able to download, so I
Yep.
do recommend picking that game up.
And if you're part of the ambassador program, you'll also have Metroid Fusion on your 3DS too.
You know, I'm really going, when I get home, I'm gonna have to restart Fusion and relearn it, because this is where we're introduced to Adam, and Adam is her
That's
colonel.
where you're formally introduced to. There's been writings about Adam for a long, long time, which is why it was speculated that was Adam laying dead in Super Metroid outside one of the boss doors, and it was not. That was just a Federation trooper sitting there. Because later on down the line in Other M, you find out how Adam died.
Yes.
So,
But see, I was introduced because I didn't know anything about Adam because of Metroid Fusion, because of Samus being raised by the Chozo.
right.
And I knew that she became a bounty hunter, but they never really jumped into her background history after she left the Chozo. Because
Right.
it sounded like when she left the Chozo, she went to the first Metroid game started. That's how it looked like. Or
Right.
something.
You know, and Other M shed some light on that in-between story, as it were. You know, some of that she actually spent some time enlisted with the Federation as well before she broke off and went independent. But yeah, no. Back to Fusion though. If you replay through Fusion, you'll find out there are probably no less than 10 SAXs running around that station. It's not one single.
Oh wow! Because you only find there's one part that in Future that you have to run this long hallway and you have to get down, and
Yep.
it's coming through and it starts scanning everywhere, and it's just like if it sees you and it encounters you, it's gonna chase after you, and you have no way to defeat it.
Oh no, you are massively underpowered to take on the SAX. But yeah, it's a wonderful game of being stalked. It is very much cat and mouse, and you are not the cat.
Right.
So,
Because normally you would think that Samus is able to handle anybody and hunt anybody. But on this one, you're the one that's being hunted while
yeah.
still trying to, get powers and things of that nature.
well, not only that too, but as you're trying to rebuild your abilities, you find out that somebody is working to stifle your progress. Actually, multiple somebodies. But, I will leave that quiet just for the sake of spoilers on a 10-year-old game. But, no, it's a well-told story. It's so much talking compared to any other Metroid game, with now the exception of Other M.
But the talking is when she's going to a new area and going through the elevator, there's a lot of text going on.
Right.
I mean, and the computer that seems to be Adam, there's also a little talking right there. Do be forewarned though that this game is very linear.
It is, but it was done that way just to fit the handheld format a lot better
Yes.
too. And it does that. But oh my god, though, the boss fights in that game.
Oh.
They had phenomenal boss fights. I'm sorry, Nightmare was awesome.
Okay, I would talk. Okay, because we might have a different opinion of boss fights. These boss fights was hard as ever.
Oh, but they were so good.
They're good, but man, I died over and over and over again.
As you should. You need to learn patterns, methodology. You've got to, know the minutia of that boss fight to figure it out. And it's, like I said, you were going to spend most of that game vastly underpowered fighting an uphill battle.
And I didn't expect that from Nintendo at all. No expectations.
I expect it from them when they're on their game.
You know what? I think because of playing Super Metroid and playing Metroid Prime, the boss battles were some were fairly easy, some were really balanced and challenging. This kept me on my toes, and
oh yeah,
I feel like this is like the dark, like you say, this is the Dark Souls of the Metroid Prime series, not Metroid Prime, of the Metroid series, because once you beat that boss and you were able to, because the thing will float, and once you was able to open it up and be able to collect the power, you felt so happy and accomplished because you was now able to progress. But you don't have to fight that boss again unless your game got cleared out and you have to restart it all.
Now, see, I will say one of my favorite boss fights out of that game, though, was Nightmare. Because there was a boss that you walked in, and you were gimped by that boss. Because he was sitting there, like, just overworking the gravity in that room. Like, suddenly your missiles wouldn't fly. You'd launch a missile out of your cannon, and it would just fall to the ground. You know, I'm like, that's awesome. You know, there's a boss that actually has you over a barrel. And that was just so cool to me. You know, because most bosses are like, I'm here, I'm a boss, these are your powers, these are my powers. You walked in and he's like, bitch, you're in my house, my rules.
I swear, when I bought Metroid Fusion, that was the only game that I focused on. No TV was cut on, no console was touched. I played that for almost 2 whole weeks until I beat it. And
Play that game with headphones, by the way, and adjust the sound settings on it for headphones, and it sounds way better too. Like in stereo, it's really impressive.
I'm gonna have to play it with the headphones, because as a handheld player, I don't play much games with headphones. But I think when I go back and do it, I'm going to have to play it.
Like when that game came out, I actually hooked my Game Boy Advance up to the stereo in my room and switched it over to the stereo headphone setting, and it was really cool. Like, it had an awesome, you know, like, balance between the left and the right, and like some of the echo of things happening on the station came out, and it was very impressive all of a sudden. So they even though it's a little Game Boy cartridge, they put some really cool work into the audio of that game.
I swear these boss fights, as amazing as they were challenging. You'll die 5 to 6 times.
Oh yeah.
But when you beat them, got the power.
It's that much more satisfying too.
But and you know what's weird? The boss fights was better than being challenged by the what you call them again?
Oh, the SAX?
The SAX, yes.
Well, the SAX wasn't there to challenge you. The SAX was there to make you fucking run and realize that you are weak by comparison. You know, the bosses were there to, you know, stop your progress until you could, you know, not just up your game. You had to get better at playing it. You had to increase your skill level, you know, before you got anything new power-wise to help you. You actually had to be better at the game. So,
and you understand why at the end of the game, why all of that is put together, why you had to get better.
Oh yeah.
And it makes it worth it. And so Metroid Fusion is the last of the main series.
Honestly, I thought the last 2 bosses in that game, though, were the most disappointing out of all of them, because the others were so good.
Yes.
And so challenging, and the last 2 were just kind of there as story mechanics. They didn't have really much challenge to them, and that was kind of sad.
It felt like it had to wrap up so it could, like, end the game. Yeah, I agree. So, like I said, Metroid Fusion was the last main. So those are the first 4 Metroid games. Metroid Prime. Let's get into Metroid Prime. I played the game at Sam Goody, walked to the concert, and put it on Berserk. What Metroid Prime did was just in the first, I'm going to say, 15 minutes of gameplay.
Just that opening space station demo
had me hooked. Play her as they call this a first person adventure.
Yep.
It was. It introduced the lock on mechanic. The strafing was done with the B button, which felt superb.
You know, this was a game that was not built around shooter mechanics.
Yes.
This is a game that was an adventure game where you could shoot stuff and you had to shoot stuff, but it wasn't, you know, kill everything. You know, it was exploratory. You know, it was thoughtful. and like it was an adventure with shooting, not a shooter. So it's a weird distinction to try and make, but for those that haven't played it, when you do, you'll understand the difference.
Right.
Don't go into it expecting a guns blazing game. You're not gonna get it. It's not there.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, if you've been used to Halo, Call of Duty, Battlefield, whatever, this changed your whole perception with this control. I still to this day, every time I play it, I'm still wild on how great this game is. So after the intro, I got a phone call, said the game was available. I drove half an hour at 5 o'clock traffic with my money to come get this game. I went into Sam Goody, I got the games, and I played I got home around 6 o'clock that afternoon, or that evening, till like 10 o'clock that night, knowing good and well I had to be at work in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And even after I redid the intro part, when I landed on the planet and the weather effects,
everything was so lush and
oh,
alive.
Wow. And I've never heard of Retro Studios until Metroid Prime.
Mm-hmm.
When you see the water on Samus's mask, you literally,
the droplets on the visor, the steam effects, the flash reflections.
Oh,
yes.
Wow. And of course, I'm a person who wears glasses. I understood why that realism that they
Mm-hmm.
gave me is because when I'm stuck in rain and the water's on my glasses, it looks like the water on her visor.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and because Metroid Prime is supposed to be where it talks about her adventures as a bounty hunter. I think where it starts her off as a bounty hunter.
Well, the Prime series takes place between Metroid 1 and Metroid 2.
Yeah.
So that's where it sits in the timeline, and it's not about her as a bounty hunter specifically. It's this story that they built around the whole Phazon issue that was terrorizing the galaxy. It started with Talon 4 with Metroid Prime, and you start to see some of what's happening. You dig into the text and the lore in that game, and you find that the Chozo were there, and they sacrificed themselves to try and lock it away. And then along come the pirates, who are sitting there going, we can use this in evil and diabolical ways, and trying to sit there and mutate not only themselves and their troopers, but also the Metroids, which is how you ended up with Metroid Prime at the end of the game. It's this giant out of control Metroid that's been feeding and infused with Phazon, and it's just this gnarly beast. And when you get to the end and you offer, if you've actually got your 100% completion, you'll see how Dark Samus was born. Because if you'll recall at the end, when you kill Prime, Prime, as a last ditch to try and save itself, actually rips the Phazon from Samus's body that created the Phazon suit that she got from the Omega Pirate, and the whole thing just kind of explodes. But at the 100% completion bonus ending, you see this little bubbling pile of Phazon on the ground, and this armored hand reaches out with an eye on the back of it, because now it not only has the Phazon and the Metroid DNA, it's now got Samus's DNA too. And that's where Dark Samus was born.
See, I didn't get 100% of it. Before we give more context about Metroid Prime, this is the first game. If you wanted this story, you scanned.
Yep.
You look for it. You was able to scan weapons, bosses,
knickknacks and plants, and
like you even scan the save points. And understand that, like, oh, this is a save point, and it would add to the percentage of what you do. And you literally would have to. It's a risk reward. If you want 100%, you're going to scan it. If you feel like that it's not part of, you don't need that.
Yeah,
that one was up to
it
you.
wasn't forced on you. Now I will say, for those that want to get the 100% scans, play it on the trilogy version, because unlike the original GameCube, the trilogy version, your scans will stack over multiple playthroughs. So if you missed something that's a one-time only scan, and you start over again, on your next playthrough after you finished, all your scans from the last playthrough are still there, and you can keep building.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Ooh.
It makes it much easier.
And Metroid Prime did come out for the GameCube. It literally is one of the best, and we'll get in Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. Metroid Prime, I still believe, still to this very day, is a great game. If you do have the GameCube and you can find you a copy, I do recommend playing that. If not, it is available on the Wii U Virtual Console. Not Virtual Console. It's available for the eShop on Wii U.
It's a whopping $20 too. You get 3 amazing games for 20 damn bucks.
And you are using the Wii remote, which I don't feel that it's better than the GameCube controller, but it's easier to play. Yeah.
It takes a little more active thought to do, but you can be a lot more precise.
Yes. And if you own the Wii and you can find you a physical copy, good luck, God bless. It's a collector's.
Get ready to pay a pretty penny for it.
So it is available in different formats, but if you want the cheapest format, get the digital version for Wii U.
We're going to talk just for a second though about the physical copy of the trilogy for the Wii, because that was one of the few rare cases where Nintendo did a real pretty collector's edition, because it came in this plastic slipcover with a steelbook case, and it was just magnificent. I have a copy. I would share it with you at the moment. It's on loan to a friend of mine. But yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful packing. And to this day, I don't think I've seen Nintendo do like any steelbook cases like that for anything else either.
Right.
So, to see them do that for this series that they apparently don't seem to have any love for anymore was very strange. But, it was a nice little glimmer of thank you instead of fuck you.
Right. I know definitely for me, in my area, it was the hardest game to find. It literally was the hardest game to find.
It had a very short print run. I want to say it was roughly about 500,000 copies printed, and that was it.
That might have been why. I wish Kmart had it, because usually, and this is the weird thing, because if you go to the popular places like Best Buy or Target or GameStop, they won't have it. Stores you do not think of. Adventure was still open.
Now, years after it came out, they did do a reprint of copies with just the standard DVD case, and I think it was released exclusively to GameStop. But even if you find it in GameStop, one of the reprinted softbook DVD cases, I think it's still like $50 used. Which it's like, really, you guys just got an infusion of more copies of this, and it was only $50 new, and it's not as nice as the original copies either. But you still want me to pay the same thing for it that I paid for the Steelbook, brand new?
Right.
Fuck you, GameStop. Fuck you.
But yeah, it was 3D open. I want to say open world in a way. The boss fights is still one of the best. Just great. Yes, I know I said Super Metroid has some of the best boss fights, and Metroid Fusion is the Dark Souls boss fights, but it makes you feel accomplished when you beat them. When I played Metroid Prime and I got to the bosses,
it's just well designed bosses.
Goodness, I want to say the third boss, because I'm including the trader boss from the first part.
Okay, so the Parasite Queen. There would have been Flagera, the giant plant rabbit thing. I'm trying to think.
This is the one where you have to scan the rock with the different risers.
Thardus.
Yeah, and he was like probably the hardest one that I had to beat. But when he turned everything into fog, I was just like, oh my
Thardus
God.
was awesome, and for anybody that wants a challenge, if you do a little working at it, you can go into the Thardus boss fight without the thermal visor, and it is totally doable. You just have to have certain patterns memorized. But you can beat Thardus without the thermal visor. So if you want to try and challenge yourself a little bit more, that's a nifty thing to try. I will vouch for it because I've done it personally. I did it on a whim, just going, I wonder if I could do this, and I was like, I can do this.
You cannot see me busy doing this. My hand.
It's the
is
Wayne's
going-
World. We're not worthy.
and this is the funny thing about Larry and how well experienced he's in the Metroid series. Me, our co-host Adrian Nieto, who couldn't be here, and Tony
To
Zillikakis,
be fair, we didn't even try and call him on Skype.
he's at work. He's doing something.
This is probably true.
We were playing Metroid, and Larry was able to hear music in our mics or through the headset and actually knew where we was at. He's like, oh, you're in this area, and you're probably about to go fight this boss. How the heck did you know? Like, from the music, we weren't shooting no enemies. We were talking because we was focused on trying to.
Not
do
only
something.
that, they were sitting there playing the first Prime, and I'm like 2 games ahead of them. I'm working on corruption.
Exactly, which we'll get into. But Metroid Prime is ever since when it came out, it got high reviews at EGM. People fell in love with it. And I do recommend everybody play that game. It is, to me personally, and if you're going to play any part of the Metroid games, Metroid Prime is required to be played. That's what I feel like.
Oh yeah. I hate to do it. We're running on a time frame, so we're gonna do the rapid fire of the last couple here in the series.
Well, you know what? We'll get into part 2 after probably where we we'll do, since we're gonna do a full blown for AM.
AM2R, yeah.
Yeah. When we come back during that episode, we'll do part 2 and 2 more weeks because we have still Metro Part 2 Echoes, where it was the light and dark evolution years of the Metroid series. So we got that.
We got Echoes, Corruption, we've got Hunters, we've got Other M, and we've got Pinball.
Oh yes, so we have
Motherfucking Pinball.
so we have more to talk about that. But thank you guys for tuning in. You can email us at world11podcast@gmail.com. That's WORLD11 podcast@gmail.com. Join us on the Facebook page of World11. We want to hear what you guys think about the Metroid series. If you're interested in playing them, where to start at. If you want to go chronological, if you just want to play the games or the way they were released, we'll let you know. Come have a discussion with us. Also, you can check us out on SoundCloud under Google Play. You can check us out at iTunes, archive.org. I think that covers it, or anything.
That covers most of that. Shout out from our friends from discussion a couple weeks ago. Friends Emperors and Elephants.
Yes.
Got word just this morning. It's Sunday morning or it's Sunday afternoon now as we record. But sad news. Yesterday was their guitarist Jeff's birthday. And I woke this morning to news that Jeff had passed away last night from a heart attack, unfortunately. So our thoughts and prayers are out with the band and the families. And you were phenomenal. You had a wonderful mastership of your craft, and what you brought to the band was amazing, and will forever be missed dearly, and never be able to be truly replaced. So
yes, we here at World War One send our condolences to the family, to the band, and there'll probably be more details coming out or something. But hopefully, you might pay tribute to them. I don't know if you're going to play a song for them or or anything at the end, that would be
I think we'll probably put up Man of God. So
okay. Cool. But thank you guys. Thank you everybody. And with that, we're going to go. I guess
birthday party.
birthday party.
Birthday party.
Yay!
Say cake, baby. Cake. Say bye, baby.
Everybody, our special guest Olivia Giver has joined us throughout the conversation, and she's just so beautiful. But with that, everybody, we will see you
Next week.
Next week, with the review full on, and then we will be bringing you part 2 of the Metro discussion. And with that, we are out.
Good night.
Bye.
Yes, your angels from above, out into the light. Prepare yourself for the age of man. Prepare yourself for the fight. I will become more than a man of God, living in this facade. You will fall under the weight of it all, and I will stand tall. Cast your demons out into the weathering cold. Your fortress seized, the walls have built, all that's left is flesh and bone. Deny me, I will become more than a man of God, living in this facade, and you will fall under the weight of it all, and I will stand tall and bring me down now, and bring me down now, take my
Are you serious? You don't remember
I don't ever get to play dude. The last time I got to play multiplayer on Echoes was like 6 years ago, if not longer. Dead serious. It's criminal.
Let's see. Grab a controller and just see.
Hey, look, I see you.
You punk.
What do I get? Hey, unlimited missile ammo.
Yay! I got a dark beam.
Oh, I lost my super missile.
There we go. Are you punk? What the heck happened? How did you get me?
Missiles? Because keep in mind, missiles have tracking on them.
Real? Well, you know, but I've never played the multiplayer.
Even in single player, all the Prime games, the missiles have a mild tracking on them. So if you're locked on, the missiles will home, to an extent at least.
Like
there's an
acquired.
upgrade. Oh yeah, you can blow out some of the walls. Where are you? I'm gonna give you that super missile too. There you are. Come right. Oh, I lost my unlimited beam ammo. That's sad. Or are you running around invisible? There you are. God damn it.
Yes! Got you. Ha ha!
Yes. I'm gonna be a resbit.
Oh, crap.
Oh, fuck me.
I don't have enough condos for that.
No, but you're sitting on an annihilator beam, and those things are nasty. Ooh.
Oh, dang
Come
it.
here, you.
No!
Come here.
No!
Come here. Yes.
Oh my goodness, this is quite amazing. I've never played the
See, nobody has.
because the game is just so amazing. Like Metro Prime 2 is an amazing game.
Hell yes. I still think it's the best Prime game. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
What the heck?
Power bomb. I found a power bomb.
Are you serious?
That's why I call them pocket nukes. And I still got 2 of them left. Well, that's okay. You come here. You come here, because I got something for you.
You know, I got out the way real quick. I'm like, let me move. What? The heck? I didn't even see you. I wasn't even close by you.
Yeah, you were. I dropped it right as I boosted past.
That's a mess.
Oh, you're here somewhere. There you are. Super missiles don't have quite the same tracking that regular missiles do, though.
Oh, crap.
I know, you were almost there, too. Not gonna lie, you were almost there. Damn it!
Yes.
I will say this game fixed one of my big gripes about the first Metroid Prime.
What? What was that?
Well, considering that Metroid Prime changed it so that the grapple beam isn't coming out of her cannon anymore, it's attached to her left arm.
Yeah.
The first one, I'm like, why the fuck can I not shoot while I'm grappling? And they fixed it.
Oh, you ser- Oh, dang it.
You know what I just realized?
What?
I think when they did the trilogy, they ran this off of, they made some adjustments based off of the engine that they were using for the multiplayer on this. Oh, God. Because if you look like the Dark Beam, it doesn't have like the cannon overflow effect. Not in multiplayer.
Oh, really?
Here, watch my cannon. See it?
Yeah.
It doesn't creep back.
Wow.
I'm wondering if that's what they did. Oh, God damn it.
Yes. Yeah. Come on now. Oh, you punk.
I will bomb your ass to oblivion.
Yes. I'll take that win. Oh, crap.
Hey, you buddy.
One trick.
Uh-oh. I got me a shotgun now. Where are you? There you are. Come here. Oh, I see you over there.
Okay, yo, dang it! You got it again! Crap!
I see you.
Crap!
Why not?
Oh, crap!
Lit your ass on fire.
Oh,
That'll
dang it.
do.
I had to.
Got more light beam. Give me one of those again.
Oh, dang it. I was to say, I'm like, Samus, why you not moving?
Where are you? Damn it.
Yes!
It's okay, we got 30 seconds left. Either I kill you or we run out of time and I still win.
Yes!
Damn. I didn't get a single fucking annihilator the whole time. Alright, so are we sounding alright or are we still too quiet?
We'll see.
A few days have passed since the recording of this episode, and more importantly and sadly, the passing of Jeff, a dear friend from Chicago area with a band that I consider all of them dear friends, Emperors and Elephants.
Details have come out about his passing since then, which unfortunately Saturday night, the evening of his birthday, getting to do what he loved to do one last time, playing on stage with his friends and bandmates. Jeff passed of a heart attack, and I just wanted to take a moment, now that I have a little quiet time to myself and a little reflection, and having seen so many memories and so much outpouring of love shared online in regards to Jeff's passing, just to additionally express my condolences to the family that Jeff leaves behind, as well as the friends, of which I was glad I could call myself. I wanted to share a couple of fond memories of Jeff and the gang. One of which is I sit here holding my daughter. About a year ago, when we found out we were pregnant, we got to go see Emperors and Elephants play in Fort Wayne, and after the show, we took pictures of the entire gang on the band, Jeff included, with my wife, and all their hands, on her tummy, and just this look of joy and happiness on everyone's face. I still have that picture. I will see what I can do to find it and post it up on our Facebook page. But the other memory that I wanted to share was one that my wife brought up, and it's one that I share with friends fairly often, actually. Was an evening a couple of years ago where everyone was over at our place before playing a show in town that night, and playing cards and drinking beers and general shenanigans and whatnot. And Jeff had gone out to the van and grabbed his guitar and brought it back up, and as we all sat around our dining room table, Jeff starts playing and Jesse starts singing and proceeds to wonderfully just poke fun at everybody in the room. And it's a very, very happy, fond memory that I look back on and I share often. But again, just a moment to share and express condolences to Jeff's family, loved ones, and friends. With that said, I leave with you what I was told was his favorite song to play on stage. I Give You Change by Emperors and Elephants.
Long through these memories, these dust-covered walls, read through my journal, hear my word, my call. Depict on the pages all the faces I met, 'cause you're the one thing done right in a life of regret. Let it take you away to a place of higher ground, 'cause the life girl I was lost between the sound. And I think it's time I make a subtle change. And I think it's time I disconnect the chains. And don't trust the changing walls I will defend. Not for every beautiful moment, just know disconnect these chains. And don't trust the changing walls. I will defend. Not for every beautiful moment. Just know and I won't let this end. 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 Tables on me, just let me see. It amazes me how one becomes a me.